to sound intimidating. Look. Somebody call Ken this ish. You can't relate to street fighting, battle rapping. We the alpha in this, the genesis. My exodus is abyss. Shouts to the homie riff. We the nerds, but the tongue is a fist and can't miss. It's gonna be a rainy night, no Ray Charles. The stars move to the right when I space bars. But watch the game since they wanna take my dreams. Rap game saturated, full of character scenes. Swallow your drum kit. For producer saying I need some bass in my voice. No other choice but to carry the torch. They backing out like I buried they porch. Chicks trying to wipe a Jedi up just so they can marry the force. Very divorced, you never been engaged to the game. I'm riding you powerless. Johnny Cage lame, I can make the waves sing. Current thoughts are higher caliber. Y'all ain't shooting for stars, you dying Gallagher. Oh, a new challenger, you should've kept your quarter, bro. You don't want the knuckles, we know you drowning water, bro. Oh, supersonic with the foot speed, kicking mad flows. They had dope till I gotta get him, I gotta get him, I gotta get him, I gotta get it. These fiends still in my dreams and I ain't with it, so I gotta get him, 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 I gotta get it. These fiends still in my dreams and I ain't with it, so I gotta get him, I gotta get him. You fallen angels better trying to find a halo when it's half-life. Y'all only have nice. My gear solid, got a tongue made of metal by the slay any snake, any venom in the kettle. Peter Parker, all over the web, releasing chocolate like Akashi. They cover one eye, government proctors. We all helicopters, North Carolina spinning shirts. Overheads projecting the truth. I'ma finish first. I call Zelda when I'm looking for source. Only one guy, why these fools claiming they lost? Going turbo with Inferno when they blazing eternal. I got these combos I'm a lock and now they flocking the kernel. That's my external. Me back up, I might format your career. In other words, you disappear. Yeah, shed tears, even family was selling me favors, but you'll never see the sky falling as long as I'm able. From the neighbor that can't stomach that I can fly, son. Claiming you a boss, you barely getting by, son. I smile at the nightmares. Tell Freddy he can write. I'm a dreamer, you must have forgot. Don't stop till the time up. My lips sticking to their brain, that's why they can't make their mind up. Trying to wake the blind up, bring them to the light. How you claim you got a dream if you ain't willing to fight, right?
This is your host, Gino Boost, and you're listening to another episode of the SUBCON Video Game Hip Hop Podcast. Fight! That's right, we're back with the Mega Cassette ITs, and it's all about fighting games, all about the KO, the TKO, the ring outs, and basically just straight decapitating dudes, or maybe eating them alive. Hey, if your Primal Rage is your thing. I gotta mention that this is a mega cast. That means double the music of a regular episode. Not just 4 awesome video game hip hop tracks, but 8 of them. And with 8 tracks also means plenty more sick instrumentals. So I'm going large this week with not just great VGM beats, but also some sick video game OSTs. I'm thinking about making just a straight up fighting mixtape of a lot of the music from this episode. So if that's something you're interested in downloading and bumping, whether you're cruising down the street looking for a fight or playing Smash Brothers with your buddies, but let me know if that's something you want to hear, because if it gets 0 downloads and 8 plays, I'm not going to do it. So, you know, bump that shit. Alright, I have a million things to cover in tribute to fighting games, because we're covering pretty much the entire fighting game genre and its entire existence since Street Fighter 2 came out in 1991. I'm going to say off the top of my head, so let me know if I got that wrong. So first I want to talk about the arcade. You can't talk about fighting games without bringing up the arcade, even though most people today are probably just playing them on online service of your choice. And that's wonderful. I'm really glad that exists, because that means fighting games have come back in a really big way. There was a big fighting game dry spell between arcades and online, and it was really sad. Like, I completely forgot fighting games were a genre for a while. Like, the only thing people played were Smash, and of course no real fighting game fan thinks Smash is a real fighting game. Slow down, I'll explain myself later. But basically, the arcade is where you went if you wanted to fight a dude, and, you know, not physically fight a dude. So the games I played in that wonderful arcade atmosphere was, of course, Street Fighter 2, the opening Mortal Kombat trilogy, Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3, Of course, we had to get our X-Men vs. Street Fighter and Marvel vs. Capcom 1 and 2 jam on back in the high school days. Also, back in high school, I got my first taste of a wonderful little Capcom game called Project Justice, the sequel to another niche Capcom game called Rival Schools United by Fate. Both terrible titles for fighting games. And why would the sequel to your fighting game be a completely different name? I mean, you stuck with Street Fighter 2 for about 8 games, but you can't stick with Rival Schools for 2. Oh, Capcom. And I also played like Tekken 1, 2, and 3. Of course, my favorites in the arcade were, of course, in that era of just wanting to dominate an arcade, or the games I was best at. So the winner for me is Mortal Kombat. I just understood the moves better. After I was able to play Mortal Kombat 1 at home, I could go to play Mortal Kombat 2 in the arcade and own a couple dudes, even though I was only about 10 at the time. Still trashing fools. I mean, it's in my blood. It runs in our family like a ninja clan, but for being good at video games. That's what I like to believe. I've trained many young students in the ways of kicking some ass at video games and talk trash while doing it. That's something else we get to enjoy later on. You can't talk fighting games without talking trash. I also wanted to tell one quick story that I love telling people when I want to brag about my fighting game prowess at one of my favorite fighting games, Project Justice. I was in the mall. I don't know what I was doing at the mall. Who goes to the mall? But I was in the arcade when malls still had arcades. Maybe your mall still has an arcade, but who goes to the mall? I was at the arcade. I'm messing with Project Justice because that's my jam. I go up. It turns out that the control stick for the first player, you can't move forward. So basically, I was doing a couple of regular moves, playing the computer for like a round or two, because I already put 50 cents in, even though the controller's busted. I might as well play the match, see what I can do. So some fool comes up to me thinking he's hot shit. He comes in, he puts his quarters in, and being the gamer I am, I don't say nothing, whatever. I'm gonna go get my 50 cents back from whatever teenager works here after this, either way. So bring it on, whoever you are. And I don't know if the dude thought he was good, or he just saw a dude in the arcade and thought, hey, I'll take this guy on. But I basically whooped him without even being able to move forward. I just blocked a little, did some low attacks by holding down. I was able to get off a move or two somehow, and just a lot of countering and dodging pretty much. So dude loses, and he puts more quarters in. He wastes another 50 cents trying to take me on. And of course I own him again because I have a little more of the flow of not getting to use the forward button. So all this dude is just fodder. In the next round, I wailed on him even harder. So dude leaves, I'm like, whatever. I'm still playing on this same 50 cents I had already put in. And I'm playing out the next computer match that it gave me for free. And dude comes back. He comes back with more money, and he comes back and he doesn't even do better. It was sad. I felt bad for him. Like, I was gonna give him that match, but he was so bad that I got carried away, and I still kicked his ass. Some of the most worthwhile 50 cents I ever spent. This is gonna take a lot of wind out of me. This is just the first segment. I'm gonna cover a lot of territory in the next couple breaks. Yes, we have a couple breaks, so hang in there, hang with me, hang tough. We're going to get through this together, and you're going to be a better person afterwards. You can trust me. We've been hanging out for how many episodes now? It's time you drop the barriers with me. The next track, which is another amazing track by Random, aka Mega Ran, who spits hot fire for the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 mixtape. I don't know how storied or important this wisdom is, but when Marvel vs. Capcom 2 came out for the Xbox Live service for the Xbox 360, also went ahead and changed up the soundtrack by adding a new mixtape to the options available in the game. and one of the tracks was a brand new cut by Mega Ran. This track is called Remainder is One, and it features Blaze Rock and Storyville, just dropping 3 sick verses about fighting for your life and winning at it. And as soon as I heard this track years and years ago, I knew I had to put together some sort of fighting game, fighting music, mixtape, video, showcase, something, because I need to tell everyone about this track. Random said it best himself. This track is downright fierce.
Off, cause ain't no love lost. This is explicit, cryptic metaphysics. Can't explain the pain I'm dishing. I got visions of precision decisions. You better call the physician, cause you ain't winning in mi casa. I'm the dark stalker, scorcher, pain and torture. I'm the author. My roundhouse is fierce, your jab shorter. Pardon me if I'm too strong or forward. Soon as the first round starts, you've been beat, you're in deep. Sweat trickling down your cheek. Your stamina better be up, tolerance better be high. You got a last word of response, better be by. Ripping you apart, cause you got no heart. This ain't no game, it's war. No pause or restart, no continues to saves in this. It's dangerous. No commission in the world's gonna sanction this. And these cats ain't kidding around. They ain't about winning around, it's about permanently saying you down. They've been talking about it for years, thought it would never occur. This quick as the start, expeditiously over. I'm beating the best, I've risen above. So give me the money, the title, and give me your love. Cause only rule is there ain't no rules. The only problem you got is I ain't gonna lose. He said it would never happen,
said it couldn't be done.
He said the title in front of me,
said it couldn't be won.
He told me I wouldn't make it,
and now my moment has come.
The superheroes are clad,
and the remainder is one.
He said it would never happen,
said it couldn't be done.
He said the title in front of me,
said it couldn't be won.
He told me I wouldn't make it,
and now my moment has come.
The superheroes are clashing,
and the remainder is one.
I am a fugitive, pugilist, revolution with moving fists. Finish those few who wish to get bruised and flipped. I am the symphony of born and bred to fight. Attack wolves in the dead of light, only to express the light. No way you can understand and gamble a man advance. The song, the sort of dance, a complicated battle stance. Crushing opponents and calculated pivot to digits. You pitiful to spit it with the sickness, diminishing minutes. You might as well skip it to the end and then finish it. As if I was possessed of the spirit of a warrior storm. I flurry, you're gone, they better hurry, you're buried in lawn. I'm not even scared of your spawn, you just glaring and yawn. There's no I in peace and no I in defeat, so I can't be beat. I just watch you and try to compete. There's no comparing to the king on his throne. My presence alone is enough to break, crack, and shatter your bones.
He said it would never happen,
said it couldn't be done.
He said the title in front of me,
said it couldn't be won.
He told me I wouldn't make it,
and now my moment has come.
The superheroes are clad,
and the remainder is one.
He said it would never happen,
said it couldn't be done.
He said the title in front of me,
said it couldn't be won.
He told me I wouldn't make it,
and now my moment has come.
The superheroes are clad,
and the remainder is one. And I aim for the sun, wait for the gun, come straight to a run. Sprint ain't never done, till the remainder is one. I'll scrape for the crumbs, awake at the dawn, a new day has begun. I'm making my way with my face in the sun. I pray through the struggle, keep pace for the long haul. Fight for my place, I got a taste for the blood. It ain't nothing but my word and my balls that break for no one. I come from a place where they claiming it's love. Slugs rain and untamed catch flames in they lungs. Till the pain going numb and I'm pumping adrenaline. My team like a league of extraordinary gentlemen. You can't see the facts, it's distortion of the evidence. The weak fall victim to impatience and lust. For power, left without a trace in the dust. Burning the remnants till the remainder is one.
He said it would never happen,
said it couldn't be done.
He said the title in front of me,
said it couldn't be won.
He told me I wouldn't make it,
and now my moment has come.
The superheroes are clad,
and the remainder is one.
He said it would never happen,
said it couldn't be done.
He said the title in front of me,
said it couldn't be won.
He told me I wouldn't make it,
and now my moment has come.
The superheroes are clad,
and the remainder is one.
Yo, 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 yo. Okay, okay. Ba-da-ba, 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 ba-da-ba. Let's go back to the days when I played the game on N64 before my mom allowed me to get whenever wrong. But it was all good up in the Homewood. Anytime I was up in Connecticut, I would stay up all night. Mama be losing it like, goddamn John Rome, get some sleep now. You won't wake up in the morning. But nevertheless, I made it a point to make it a goal to be the best. And I would enjoy the melee game and PM phase, thinking I must have better be pretty damn good at this. Then I saw the documentary. But you know that I'ma change the game like I'm a wave dash. You ain't never won a money match when I make raps. They be like, you won't thrive, but I mean Falco, how can I not shine? Ha. Ha. Ha.
When Jack joins the back, Ben is in charge of the rap. Leave it to me, he's a filthy casual. Me, I'm a fraudulent sheep, but I still be trashing you. Wave dash and a jab, then I'm grabbing you. Take that dash attack, then I'm slapping you. I know you got a rolling habit, dude. Exposing you is what I plan to do. Is Xanadu? Hell yeah, I'm D&B reppin'. I wanted to believe in chillin' the beat leffin'. But like a little beef, I keep the game guessing and see the progress until we 20XX. And I'm playing PM to the AM. I'm like M2K off stage, man. I made ton in your face like Rizal Flame with those crispy ass fucking wavelands. We're SS10, you're not so lucky, so you better switch up the game plan.
I could beat your ass drunk like a mango. You'll be thinking out joke, but I ain't no FC. Style B over the edge type. PC if he was an MC like Falco on the mic and in the FOX 20XX with the rhyming, right? You're the type to say GG but never actually face me. You're salty. But I better master hand your ass and slam you down. Better yet, I'll get every smash ready to rally you around. Then you roll me, better spike you into the ground. Pillory like I'm part of a syndicate made up of a division of mercenaries for canary. I mean, and I'm a pilot now. Better than Fox McCloud, you're a disappointment like when Bro came out.
So don't get hit, better focus when you're opposing Ken. Like him, I'm king, you'll never bring it back. Giffy kept me spitting these raps. We don't die, we smash the eye. We don't die, we smash the eye. Smash players don't die, we smash the eye. Heard a verse out of me, you're like, please Sakurai. I stack it up like PP. Leave a stitch on your face, ain't that shit peachy? Like H-Box, I take stocks and rest easy. Your shots misfired like Ouija. The two bringing hype like TK Breezy and EE. Marcus and Rome's like Scar and Toph. Prague and D1, destruction. When I punish them harder than a mother when I'm dominating. It's not about a bunch of button combinations. No matter what goes on, win or lose, I live by no Johns.
Welcome back. The track you just heard was courtesy of Marcus and Rome. That was No John's Freestyle, and that beat was based on music from the Smash Brothers documentary, which they allude to a couple times in their rhymes. Me playing this track today begs the question, is Smash Brothers even a fighting game? Now obviously this all comes down to semantics. What do you call a fighting game? I mean, you fight people in pretty much every game that exists. But of course we're narrowing it down to the specific fighting game genre. And so now you have to define what makes a fighting game a fighting game. So we gotta define what belongs in the fighting game genre and what doesn't. So again I ask, is Smash Brothers a fighting game? I say no. Why? Because Sakurai himself doesn't consider Smash Brothers a fighting game. When the developers make Street Fighter or King of Fighters or another game with the word fight in the title, it's pretty much assured that everyone that works there knows they're working on a fighting game. But Sakurai says, no, Smash Brothers is not a fighting game. In several interviews, he's likened Smash Brothers to more of a Mario Kart atmosphere, much like there's racing games and then there's Mario Kart, and then some people even make up the genre of kart racers. But Mario Kart is obviously in a class of its own, and Sakurai wanted the same thing but in a fighting game. He wanted people to whoop it up and anybody could be a winner. But of course that doesn't jive too well with the fighting game community, who likes very standardized rule sets, and that's great because it's a sport. Sports have rules. In the fighting game community, because of the competitiveness and for a select few a paycheck, they don't want randomness. You don't want randomness. This isn't gambling, it's a sport. And a lot of sports usually have some rules, and that's not a bad thing at all. You gotta set a few ground rules before people start beating each other up, even digitally. So by nature, the fighting game community and just fans of the game in general took the game too seriously. Even Sakurai was surprised he's had to make so many sequels. It's never enough for some of you people. which isn't a bad thing. I mean, I'm playing the latest Smash Bros, so I'm not complaining that Sakurai has to spend 5 years on every single trip down this road. I mean, it's okay to take video games seriously. Where would I be? Where would this podcast be if I wasn't taking video games way too seriously? It's just aesthetically, Sakurai never endeavored to make a serious tournament fighter. He just wanted to make a bunch of references to Nintendo and get paid to do it. And having everyone just duke it out seemed like the easiest way to introduce dozens of Nintendo characters and reintroduce maybe hundreds of them to us again. I mean, to be fair, yeah, this Smash Bros. Fight scene isn't what quote-unquote Sakurai intended, but points to the people taking Smash Bros. Seriously, because the creators of Street Fighter 2 never intended combos to happen. And where would fighting games at all be if players hadn't uncovered this problem with the game and found a way to make a different game from the game that the developers intended? I mean, it's inevitable. If a game creator gives us a fun world, we're gonna find some fun things to do with it. Some things that the developers themselves hadn't thought of. Really, those are some of the best games of all, right? I wouldn't love Smash Brothers so much if I couldn't have matches with only Falcon punches. But I think that highlights that I like to play Smash Bros. The way Sakurai intended. Items on high, levels on random, maybe even characters on random. Because all we're trying to do is have fun. I mean, the real game isn't even on the screen. It's coming from our mouths via a bunch of shit talk, which I will get into in a future break. Right now, I want to talk a little more about Smash Brothers. Something I love about Smash Brothers when items are falling everywhere and people are duking it out for a Smash Ball. I thrive in chaos. Chaos is fun to me. It makes me feel alive. Apparently, I prefer to thrive amongst chaos rather than rule over order. Alright, to keep myself from running out of breath at the end of the episode, let's go over a couple of the fight music instrumentals that we heard so far to open the show and get everyone in that fighting mood. We heard Clamato Fever, the menu music from Street Fighter 2. That was by AEN Prozacs, and that comes from the OC Remix OST to Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo HD Remix. If that song can't get you pumped, that's a little sad, but we have plenty of other songs that I hope have made you get ready to punch a dude. Next we heard Condemnation Wings, Tsubaki's theme by Daisuke Ishiwatari from BlazBlue Continuum Shift. Then we heard Labyrinth's theme, Spirited Girl by Shoji Meguro from Persona 4 Arena soundtrack, composed with Atsushi Kitajo. And in this break, we've heard from theme of Fatal Fury Team, Wild Street by Tetsuhiro Ogawa, Iku Mizutani, Tashihiko Hiraguchi, Tomonoa Nia Makoto Sahiru, and Tasuku Mizutan. I'm not saying all those again because we have another track from KOF 13 coming up, and just rewind to here if you want to hear that again. That was followed up by another OC remix. This one was by way of Dark Sword, and it was called Little Arena, and that was from Persona 4 Arena, originally composed by Shoji Meguro. Then we heard another Arc System Works fighting game jam from Madaharu Yoshihiro. That's from the Arcana Heart 3 OST, and it was called Usual Feeling. That was followed by some hard-rocking, grunged-out super jams by Temp Sound Solutions, Street Fighter 2 Vega Stage from Now You're Playing with Power 6, possibly my favorite Power Play Temp Sound Solutions has dropped. And then we got Game Music for All original via Dr. Octorok, an amazing all-around dude who does like all sorts of things. I should probably describe that better. He'd be disappointed in me. Just Google Dr. Octorok and he's always doing some crazy jam, and it's always worth investing in. The track he did is called Heavyweight Trance Street Fighter 2, and that's in tribute to the Genesis version of Street Fighter 2. And it's from the Game Music for All Sega Genesis Tribute album, which you could find at gamemusicforall.bandcamp.com. So not only is that a hot jam, but it also lets me get my plug in. And finally, we're hearing Them Kicks. And that's another jam by DJ MMA Productions. You heard them last week as well. That's from the Nintendo Classics mixtape. Of course, that's Chun-Li's theme, originally composed by Yoko Shimomura for Street Fighter 2. So that gets us through half of our awesome jams, and also drags us into our little podcast within a podcast, because we're gonna jam some Street Fighter from here into the next block. Of course, I ran off all those hot Street Fighter jams that we got bumping in the background, and now I want to pay a little tribute to everything Street Fighter 2 has done for the fighting game genre, like, invent it. So Street Fighter 2 was a groundbreaking fighting game. My favorite fighting game from before Street Fighter 2 defined what a fighting game really is was Boxing by Activision for the Atari 2600. I've never seen two dudes punch each other so recklessly. It was visceral. It was like I was front row seat just watching a dude punch another dude in the face. But anyway, we're gonna celebrate with a video game based lyrics corner, and this one is brought to us by Team Teamwork, who had the good wisdom to mash up the extremely mashable Guile's theme with the also extremely mashable Ludacris jam Roll Out. Of all the video game based lyrics corners I've done so far, this was definitely the hardest, because Ludacris is just the stellar opposite of Guile. I mean, Guile seems like a pretty straight cut, buttons laced, belt buckled, take no shit kind of dude. And Ludacris in this jam is really hamming up how ridiculous this dude could spend his money. So I was racking my brain trying to connect these two disparate images, and cursing myself a little that this wasn't on top of Ken's theme, because that would have went perfectly. But hey, I like a challenge. So I had the windows open for Rap Genius and Ludacris, and also some tabs open for Guile's backstory on Wikipedia, and also on a Street Fighter 2 themed Wikipedia. And it turns out that Ken Masters, by way of his wife, and Guile's wife are sisters. So Guile and Ken are brother-in-laws. Now, dude, can you imagine the day that Ken and Guile became brothers-in-law? They had to hit up the town. They had to go party. I mean, they've been in fighting tournaments and tried to kill each other. They gotta be best bros by now. And I just imagine Guile dropped this track like the week he got that Ken Masters money. Like when he got access to the Masters bank account, he went all Hollywood, went and grabbed a couple Benzes, got himself a mansion up on a hill, and forget all that straight talk routine. You rich now, Guile. You got Masters money, you gonna spend it. Roll out. And so this track is basically Guile pimping the fact that he's been fighting his whole life, came from the hood, now he's got Ken Masters money. He's like Kanye with the Kardashians, just rolling in it. So keep that whole Guile, Ken Masters partying across the globe storyline in mind as you listen to this mashup by Team Teamwork. This is simply titled Ludacris Roll Out Street Fighter 2 from Super Nintendo Sega Genesis.
Top back, so much money, you can't stop
chain with them diamonds in it? Where'd you get that Mac and Benz with them windows tinted? Who them girls you be with when you be riding through? Man, I ain't got nothing to prove. I pay my dues, breaking the rules and shake fools while I'm taking a cruise. Tell me who's your weed man and how do you smoke so good? You's a superstar, boy. Why you still up in the hood? What in the world is in that bag? What you got in that bag? A couple of cans of whoop ass. You did a good ass job of just eyeing me, spying me. I got my sweet Glock 40. Cock back. Me and my homie. So drop that. And on 20. With the top back. So much money. You can't Man, that car don't come out until next year. Where in the fuck did you get it? That's 80,000 bucks gone. Where in the fuck did you spend it? You must have eyes on your back, cause you got money to the ceiling. And the bigger the cap, the bigger the feeling, the better I'm feeling. The more that I'm chilling, willing, drilling, and killing them. Who's that bucket naked cook, fixing 3-course meals? Getting goosebumps when a body tap the 6-inch heel. What in the world is in that room? What you got in that room? A couple of gaps, a couple of knives, couple of rats, a couple of wives. Now it's time to choose. I got my sweet Glock 40. Cock back. Me and my homie. So drop that. With the top back, so much money, you can't stop. Are you custom made, custom paid, or you just custom fitted? PlayStation 2 up in the ride, is that Lorenzo Kidded? Is that your wife, your girlfriend, or just your main bitch? You take a pic while I'm rubbing the hips, touch the lips to the top of the dick, and then woo! Tell me who's your housekeeper and what you keep in your house. What about diamonds and gold? Is that what you keep in your mouth? What in the world is in that case? What you got in that case? Get up out my face, you couldn't relate. Wait to take place at a similar pace, so shake, shake. I got my sweet Glock 40. Cock back. Me and my homie. So drop that. We rolling on 20. With the top back. So much money. You can't stop that. Sweet Glock 40. Cock back. Me and my homie. So drop that. With the top back, so much money, you can't stop that. Get out my business, my business. Stay the fuck up out my business.
From the highest mountain to the deepest sands, so I got the kind of moves make you clap your hands. Full train, so it's always like it's on demand. The kind of discipline none of you could understand. Every day's a challenge, every day's a test. Travel all the way here just to prove I'm the best. Punching and slamming, it's another victory. Me holding the ground, it's just how it's supposed to be. Bring on the game, stop bringing the takedown. If you ask me, you better mow with the right now. Shut the match in the clock, take your shot. Skills too weak for the strength I've got. With just one move, I will take you down. Please allow me to introduce you to the ground. Extra large, when I take to the skies. No surprise, most but I'm leaving here with the prize. I wrestle with my demons, wrestle with bears. At this altitude, nobody compares. Hit you with a sleeper, then I broke some wrist. Nothing like the power that I hold in my fist. Always like my odds, even when against a million. There shouldn't be confusion, cause I've never been a villain. Don't know what to call me, you can call me what they call me back home. Red Cyclone. Life is a battle and it isn't over until I say so. Started matching me and you will get all up in my tornado. And I don't know why I live to fight. Start the day right with a bottle of vodka. Brilliant man laugh after that it will shock ya. Not here for dough, but I'll drop the elbow, breaking you in half when it calls fiasco. Get down right now, check your pulse. I'm here to stay while you're out like a ghost. Pretty young things just get in the way, cause I'm not here for work, baby, this is just play. And I get a little more hardcore over here, yo, I swallow my fear, now the name you revere. Every challenger I bring him down, throwing through the panel. Explosion about to happen, then you better change this channel. Always like my odds, if you wanna get some million. There shouldn't be confusion, cause I've never been a villain. Don't know what you call me, you can call me what they call me back home. Red Cyclone. Life is a battle and it isn't over until I say so. Starting at me and you will get all up in my tornado. And I don't know why I live to fight. I don't know why I live to fight.
Welcome back to the SUBCON podcast. That last track you heard was Red Cyclone vocal version. That's another one from the SSF2THDR soundtrack brought to us by OC Remix. That was from the Grammar Club. I've been dying to play some Grammar Club on this podcast, but my incessant need to play new tunes has thus far kept me from basking in one of my personal favorite VG hip-hop influenced groups. Even though their video game influence is somewhat tenuous, I still think they count because they grew up they're from the culture, man. Just let them in. They're here. They're already, man, I play what I want. Anyway, Shell has been teasing it, so hopefully by the time this podcast drops, he'll have dropped some new tunes, either as himself or with his group, the Double Ice Backfire, or with his other group, the Grammar Club, or in a group that he just makes up. It doesn't matter. Just sing notes and put them on the internet, Shell. Alright, so I was just trying to think of all the fighting games I've enjoyed and my favorite character from all of them. Now maybe you'll see a few patterns. I see a few patterns. But maybe you'll see some patterns I didn't see in my favorite character decision making. So we're going to list these all off real quick. Maybe I'll say a comment or two, but there's more to get through than I thought there were. We're going to start with the Street Fighter series. Chun-Li, of course Chun-Li. Chun-Li was the person I picked because she was the fastest character. At least that's the argument I made. I don't know why I picked Chun-Li. Mostly because her backflip jump off the wall was a very reliable fake out move. It really helped me change things up on opponents because I didn't know combos back then. And also shout out to Sakura. Basically, I like her the same way I loved Pichu in Smash Bros. Melee. Weaker versions of characters are always fun. If you want to really assert dominance on that player, you want to pick someone who's kind of scoffed at just to really add insult to injury. Next is from Project Justice. My favorite character is definitely Shoma. He's basically like a baseball version of Cloud from FF7. Like, he has the spiky hair, kind of dumb. His bat is essentially as big as Cloud's sword, and he carries it the exact same way. How Shoma doesn't find his way into a Capcom fighting game is just ridiculous. How could you not have the fighting baseball player represent your video game about high schools fighting each other? Instead they have Batsu in games still. Like anyone cares about his generic Ryu looking ass. Alright, moving on. Darkstalkers, Morrigan, because Morrigan had that lovable jetpack wing move that could move her forward and let her cover some ground. I absolutely love any kind of attack or maneuver that gives you basically an extra jump in a fighting game, because it really helps me with fake outs and to get the drop on people. Which actually brings us to Guilty Gear and Blaze Blue. For Guilty Gear, my favorite character definitely Mei, who no matter how many Guilty Gear wiki pages I read, just for reasons unknown can carry an anchor twice her size. Not only that, but she's basically Aqua Woman because she summons dolphins and whales to straight throw down in her name. And in Blaze Blue, my favorite is Tsubaki. Now, a lot of the things I love about Blaze Blue are story-based. I mean, the game is wonderful to play, but the storyline is just another level. And Tsubaki's tragic storyline definitely makes me root for her. Another favorite based largely on the storyline. Now again, I love playing the game obviously, and I love matching up with my friends and all that good stuff, but the storyline on Mortal Kombat is really a notch above a lot of storylines in any video game. Like, one, it's consistent. I mean, even the reboot played it up like they went back in time to change the events slightly of the originals. So it's all technically canon. And they do it because they care. And they know people like me care. People that read the words inside instruction manuals and want to know why I'm jumping on enemies' heads, or why I'm trying to kick a sumo wrestler in the face, or throw fireballs at a movie star. Then we got Primal Rage. My favorite is definitely Sauron. One of his moves was he just roared It dodges projectiles or something, but if you see a projectile coming at you, are you going to put an intricate move sequence in that allows you to stand perfectly still and avoid projectiles, or are you just going to jump or duck under it? But nonetheless, Sauron was definitely my favorite. Garu, Mark of the Wolves. My favorite character is bygone, the awesome pirate chick fighter. Arcana Heart 3 is Akane, a ninja girl, but no one's matched up a beat with her yet. Someday, I'll get my ninja girl hip-hop mixtape. Persona 4 Arena, Chie is definitely my favorite character, because she basically kicks the crap out of everyone, and she has some of the best dialogue in the entire game. And then King of Fighters 13 in particular, because that's the one I've played the most recently. Leona from the Akari Warriors team. She quickly became my favorite when I found out you could easily do a palette swap in KOF 13 to make her look like Sammy from Advance Wars. And since then I've been rocking her on my King of Fighters team. But shoutouts to my original favorite, King, though she looks like a waiter or something. And I think Shale Riley has something to say about SNK characters. But King with her awesome kick attacks. Oh, and shoutouts to Blue Mary, who I loved using in KOF 98 with her crazy long-range wrestling moves. And then Tekken, the first 3D fighter I'm talking about, the only 3D fighter I'm talking about, isn't that a thing? The Tekken series, my favorite is Michelle, who I used in Tekken 2, the one I played most often because I had it on the PlayStation. But shoutouts to Julia, who apparently took Michelle's place in the newer Tekken games, and apparently in the latest Tekken became a lucha wrestler. I mean, I have to support any references to lucha wrestling in video games. I think that is one of my missions in life. Maybe I can make a podcast about it. Killer Instinct. We got some Killer Instinct music coming up, don't you worry. My favorite character, definitely Spinal. There's nothing as sweet as that combo from the original Killer Instinct, where you could turn into the other character and launch their projectile in a fit of mockery that every fighting game deserves. And finally, my favorite fight from Urhighs. Ha! No one likes Urhighs. I referenced Killer Instinct a second ago, and we got some killer cuts for you right now. This is Killer Instinct by Powder, aka Casey Jones, and it's featuring some bars from Donnie Menace and Dr. Ill, and it's from Powder's album 2 Up.
2 Up, motherfuckers. Killer Instincts. Yeah. GH Donnie Menace, what up? Donnie Menace. It's that murder shit. Killer Instincts. What up? Ultra tech in this motherfucker. Yeah. Fuck you thought. Yeah. Get it? I hit you with a combo, no censorship, it's full gore. I was hungry, what the fuck else you think I crushed your skull for? Burnt you to a cinder after tearing out your spinal. No mercy, even for those who would see me as an idol. Psychopathic, I like shit graphic, I'm so demonic. Strike a match just to light up faggots, a soaking tonic. Blood curdling, throat deposit, you choke and vomit. After being poked and prodded and coked in an old apartment, I bash your face until lacerated and gas is basted. Your whole setup, from the neck up is mashed potatoes. Up from a cold to death, known as Ultra Tech. Grindhouse games what I claim, denying so respect. Powder and Donnie Menace is cloudy around the presence. On the offensive, body you leave a rotting crevice. The ill doctor dentist will stop and you knock to red drips. And pop it then rib, chop the death shit, dropping headless. Killer instincts that make us pure evil. One up in your home, put crumbs of your people. Inhuman, designed to kill. Immortal, living forever with a mind that's ill. We got them killer instincts that make us pure evil. One up in your home, put crumbs of your people. Inhuman, designed to kill. Immortal, living forever with a mind that's ill.
My instincts to go straight to war, break you off in a fatal form. You should put the paint the floor with a Jago sword. Foes drop when I hit them at full force. No robot, but what you getting is full gore. I'm ferocious and anxious to free you, so then take it, make your name an article. Cause my heart is colder than glaciers. Call call me Combo. My hands will punch out a fucking tooth. The rock can do you like Orchid and kick you off a fucking roof. Your bitch loves me cause the kid wrecks mics. It's like her name is Idol, the bitch gives head twice. I ain't playing with you fortune fakers, I'm assorting haters. You cinder ass niggas, you're cheap and you're walking flamers. Fuck if you're talking gangster, you don't want the fader. As soon as you swing, I'm swinging quicker, bitch. Combo breaker, I spit sick, you can't rip me, prick. My black cartridge will cut you in the 16-bit.
We got them killer instincts that make us pure evil. One up in your home, put clones of your people. Inhuman, designed to kill. Immortal, living forever with a mind that's ill. We got them killer instincts that make us pure evil. One up in your home, put clones of your people. Inhuman, designed to kill. Immortal, living forever with a mind that's ill.
Master for murder, flow, decapitate victims, quick with precision, sick and vile, twisted evil mentality, liquid spilling at your guts, organs battered and bruised. Latimer fools, good afternoon. Would you like to be used as animal food? Packing tools, mad science, surgical murder plots. It's the violence, violence in the back, attack raps, crack your face, smack your mother. Fuck all of you other suckers, uppercut your fatality, spike bit, you done with. I burn a blunt for every wigger I kill. I pour 40 to the earth, absorb it, burning in hell. The words I expel cause air pollution, poisonous gas, destroying your best. My spit is too acidic, xenomorphic tongue lashing in your bitch cooch, infecting the host. Creatures sprouting at your bitch boobs, chests explode. I let it be known, so many rounds is dead at your ghost. I get paid to murder rap, steady stacking the dough.
We got them killer instincts that make us pure evil. One up in your home, put clones of your people. Inhuman, designed to kill. Immortal, living forever with a mind that's ill. We got them killer instincts that make us pure evil. One up in your home, put clones of your people. Inhuman, designed to kill. Immortal, living forever with a mind that's ill.
Yeah, shit talking shit, real talking shit. You couldn't shit talk if you shit talking shit. Then sit talking shit, talk to it. Wait for it. I've been big shit talking since shit talk was in. Clowning and bagging and ragging and razzing and smashing on cats when I trash talk with friends. My trash mouth is trashed out enough to keep Oscar the damn Grouch's cans out to lunch. Shit talking big dog since Tecmo Bowl. My NES controls extra nose is hella swole. Why you little brittle simple things with sentimental dimple seams? Bare your souls through air exposed nipple rings and get put on blast Thursdays. The bust shells like my Triple D Rippling mermaids. Tryna clash with Psycho like so. Garbage. Put on Front Street or get that ass recycled. We don't care who you are, you can still get it. We don't give a damn how hurt your feelings get. Don't give us that bullshit, be real with it. This is a whole lot of shit talk, so deal with it. We don't care who you are, you can still get it. We don't give a damn how hurt your feelings get. Don't give us that bullshit, be real with it. This is a whole lot of shit talk, so deal with it.
Your squad rocks hard off rapping, but actually get some blah 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 yakety schmackety ass shit talk. Getting me pissed.
Ready for lift
My
off.
sick thoughts are chewing you like reviewers from Pitchfork. As tough as you kids talk, I hardly found drama. Your party sounds caca. You speaking in same language as Charlie Brown's mama. Blowing a muted trumpet. You're a stupid strumpet whose heartbeats produced and funded by the cute percussion of a Hallmark Cupid's drum kit. Damn, people like you should come with toothpaste like hardware audio interfaces come with Cubase. Prepare your suitcase and bring your bags out. You need impatient care for an acute case of ass mouth. Honestly had doubt of the major guns you're using. You threaten to hand out many paper cuts and bruises, but it's never gonna pan out like a native tongue reunion.
We don't care who you are, you can still get it. We don't give a damn how hurt your feelings get. Don't give us that bullshit, be real with it. This is a whole lot of shit talk, so deal with it.
Oh shit. Oh, how I hate shit talkers, but I'm a shit talker too. Loud as a cockatoo while I spew toxic fumes. No, you are not excused. Everyone's a victim, even you can get shitted on. Why is it addictive? You better have thick skin, cause if you're sensitive, you'll throw a hissy fit over some little shit. But I don't give a shit, my shit is unlimited. I have infinite shit, and my sportsmanship is just simply the shit. I don't give two shits if I am a nuisance. Got my crew members behind me yelling out, do shit. I got girls with huge tits that do shit for me, so I don't have to do shit, and that's some true shit. Wipe that shit around your mouth, I just sit around the couch. A lazy piece of shit that don't do shit around the house. Eat, sleep, and shit, what more can you ask for? I'm the perfect candidate to keep that porcelain glass warm.
We don't care who you are, you can still get it. We don't give a damn how hurt your feelings get. Don't give us that bullshit, be real with it. This is a whole lot of shit talk, so deal with it.
God damn. Fuck you. Fuck
Welcome back. This is the final break in the jams. The track you just heard was from the Super Mario Brothers LP. Super Mario Brothers was a fusion of 8-Bit Bandit and Dumbfounded, two LA native artists who found each other for a brief moment and made something magical. And that was the track Shit Talkers featuring Thirsty Fish. So I had to highlight that because shit talking is a very distinct and important part of competition, both real and digital. My particular brand of shit talk isn't any negative or insulting remarks made towards my opponent, but rather observations about the moment in time or the fight that happens to be taking place. And the goal isn't really to upset your opponent, because sometimes getting a guy upset can help them focus further, and clearly that's not something you're looking for from your opponent. What I want to do is get my opponent's brain thinking in at least one other direction than the game, and the more directions while we're trying to have a match, the better. So I'll say anything that can get him to laugh, anything that can get the people around us to laugh, and also just random statements. So that track is just for all my fellow shit talkers out there, no matter what flavor you come in, whether you like to take the passive aggressive approach like me, or if you like to express your feelings a little more directly during your beatdowns. So now we gotta talk about my top 3 fighting games ever. And maybe not ever, because man, it is difficult to decide and rank games, even within a genre. Like, I have a strict criteria of what a fighting game is, and I have a narrow window of the fighting games I have spent a lot of time with. And through it all, I have come up with this list. We're gonna count it down right now. Number 3, BlazBlue. Oh, the storyline for BlazBlue was just unbelievable, and the variety of ways in which they told the story through everyone's perspective. It was a slog at times, but it was like reading a book, and for me, it was like reading a book. It was pretty sweet. So the story mode for BlazBlue just absolutely blew my mind and made me an instant fan of the series. And of course, the fighting itself is fantastic. I love a lot of the characters, the way they're fleshed out in the story, that every character has both a humorous side and a serious side. So you feel like a lot of the characters are more fleshed out than you would have suspected, even if some of the humorous writing is a little cornball. Sometimes I hit the nail on the head just by virtue of how many words you have to read. Sometimes, like a good RPG, there's a lot of filler, there's a lot of you took 26 points of damage, but sometimes it's just totally worth it. And even though BlazBlue has a lot of words for a fighting game, I absolutely love it for that very fact. Number 2 in the countdown is Garou Mark of the Wolves. Not a very popular game by any means. Hit the arcades, I think. I know some people that have it on the Dreamcast, and it was basically a King of Fighters-esque game featuring some of the characters from King of Fighters, but also a lot of original characters, including my favorite character from the game, bygone, the badass pirate queen. What was really amazing about Mark of the Wolves was the health bar system. You could choose 1/3 of your health bar in which your attack would be increased. That made all the difference in the world, because you could have epic come from behind wins, or you could just straight wail on a dude right from the outset. It made for really interesting fights in a really simple way, just to add a little chaos, a little variety to the health bar system. They introduced an incredible mechanic in which your strength, your willpower, your fighting heart increases at just the right time, and you just wail on a dude with a sick combo and become the champion of whatever fighting game it is. And that brings us to number one. Number one is Project Justice. for the arcades, also for the Sega Dreamcast. I'm not sure if it's for other systems. I have it for the Dreamcast, so I'm happy as a clam with my Dreamcast arcade stick. Basically, the best fighting game I've ever played. Now, the fact that I'm really good at it clearly biases the game in my favor. I just have a knack for the cadence of the game. Really fits my style of play. There's a lot of air juggles. You could get a lot of distance in the game. You could get some running kicks. Getting a running dive kick on a dude is a simple but wonderful pleasure that is available in Project Justice. Also, there's a lot of characters in the game with a lot of various styles, and the fact that you can switch up your character between rounds makes it an interesting dynamic too. Like, do you hope your dude that just lost can make a comeback in the next round? Or do you lose your faith in him and switch over to the next character on your roster? Like, take a seat, chumpo, because you couldn't get the job done in the first round. If you win, you just sit back on your laurels and go with what got you there, or you want to change it up on a dude and send in the next rank so he couldn't scope out none of y'all moves. Also, a lot of joke characters, which is never a bad thing. I mean, damage is damage, a combo is a combo. I don't care if you're pretending to swim on concrete like one of the characters, or just snapping a few pictures that, I don't know, the flash steals a little bit of the fighter's soul because it hurts. Those camera flashes hurt. And then you have the boss of the game, who's just a dude that wields two swords. I mean, the only thing you face even close to that beforehand is Shoma with his giant bat, and another dude with a wooden sword from the Kendo Club. And the final boss, probably the principal of one of the high schools. Maybe he's the superintendent. That would be intense. He busts in. I guess he lives in a warehouse, and he busts onto the scene with double swords and like no shirt, like he runs the fashion underground. Anyway, there's just a couple of the reasons why I love Project Justice. So, let me know what your favorite fighting games are. Let me know if any of the things I stated you even heard of, much less made your top 3. But let me know why I should have included something more popular. I'm a fan of, this is a video game hip-hop podcast. It's pretty clear that I like things that are a little more niche than what you're going to hear on the radio, and that's true for video games too. I really like to go off the beaten path, and the things I find just feel very magical when you discover them for yourself, and the experiences stick with me. But that's not to say I don't have lots of beautiful memories with Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. It's also a knack of mine to implore you to dig into these caverns along with me. So that brings us to the end of the podcast. And you know what that means. That means it's time to list the rest of our fantastic BGM that we were graced with this week. When we kicked off the break before this, we heard Who Is Queen, theme of Women's Team. That's another jam from King of Fighters 13. After that, we heard Beachin, Sauron's theme by Doug Brandon and Gene Parson from All the Rage, the expanded soundtrack from Primal Rage. Now, I was doing some footwork trying to find a couple of interesting beats for this podcast, and I could not say no to an arranged version of Sauron's theme from Primal Rage that I didn't even know existed until the day I started working on this episode. After that, we heard Blazing by Kendo Kildare. That is another one from the Blaze Blue soundtrack, originally by Daisuke Ishiwatari. When we broke into this break, we heard NRB and QSR by It's the King. And that was one more Blaze Blue bass beat for y'all. After that, we heard Kuroyuki. That's another Dark Sword based Persona 4 Arena sourced OC remix track in tribute to Persona 4 Arena. And then we heard from a guy I've been following for a while, Natsu Fuji. That was his track Tayo Back in the Day, which is a bump I found of Project Justice, because I had to find some Project Justice music. I was planning on just using something from the OST, but Natsu Fuji comes through with the remix. We're finally at the end of our journey We've won the crown, the belt, the cup, the scepter, the money, the prize, the revenge, and now we're walking into the sunset, our righteousness affirmed, and our fists bloodied. And to savor that feeling is Calm Feeling by Madahiro Yoshihira from the Arcana Heart 3 soundtrack. After the final song today, we're gonna hear the staff roll from the SNES version of Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo by Yoko Shimomura. I mean, we came in blazing the opening theme, so we gotta kill it on the closer from Street Fighter 2. But before that moment, we're gonna hear from Shale Riley again with his other band, the Double Ice Backfire. This isn't strictly hip-hop, but didn't I already say that I'll decide what is hip-hop on this show? And for a guy like Shale Riley, well, I'll post the image of Shale Riley in the show notes, and you tell me how hip-hop he is. It's the closer on the original Songs from the Pit, but not for the ultimate Songs from the Pit, which is the remastered version of the cassette-only original album. And it's in tribute to Mortal Kombat. Maybe not my favorite fighting game, but definitely the most influential. I mean, I tried to convince myself that the second Mortal Kombat movie was good. It didn't take. I was a little older and a little more jaded from, the first Mortal Kombat movie. And of course this Super Mario movie. And even the Street Fighter movie. Even though I didn't become a Street Fighter fan until basically adulthood. Anyway, this is Shale Riley. It ain't rap, but it's still hip-hop. This is Tip Et Fo Motab.
There's an old man, and he keeps me in a subterranean area, and he won't let you come and see me until you fulfill his criteria. After midnight, in the full moon's light, climb way up onto a bridge, where you'll meet a friend of the old man's, and beat him to death with your fists. Someday you're gonna die, you know it, grow a backbone, but don't you show it. Say to yourself, this is it, this is it, this is it. Wait for the day when you finally show here, blocking will get you nowhere. Say to yourself, this is it, this is it, this is it. It's life at the bottom of the pit. The old man is a wizard, and he feeds on younger men's souls. I saw him murder an actor just the other day in his throne room. He treats me like an animal. I can't wait for the day that he dies, when I take his key and I set me free. If he don't, I might eat him alive. Someday you're gonna die, you know it, grow a backbone, but don't you show it. Say to yourself, this is it, this is it, this is it. Wait for the day when you finally show here, blocking will get you nowhere. Say to yourself, this is it, this is it, this is it. It's life at the bottom of the pit. I'm a monster when I hunger, and I feed on scorpion flesh. When the insects crawl on the dungeon wall, my tongue makes quite a mess of them. It's been lonely since the wizard disappeared in the blink of an eye. Saw the old man turn to a young man, then get up and leave me to die. Someday you're gonna die, you know it, grow a backbone, but don't you show it. Say to yourself, this is it, this is it, this is it. Wait for the day when you finally show here, blocking will get you nowhere. Say to yourself, this is it, this is it, this is it. Someday you're gonna die, you know it, grow a backbone, but don't you show it. Say to yourself, this is it, this is it, this is it. Yeah, wait for the day when you finally show here, blocking will get you nowhere. Say to yourself, this is it, this is it, this is it. It's life at the bottom of the pit. At the bottom of the pit.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the SUBCON podcast. Be sure to subscribe to us on iTunes. Check out GameMusicForAll.com for all the latest video game music news, and go to GameMusicForAll.com/SUBCON. See show notes for today's episode. You can also go to GameMusicForAll.com/support to find out ways to help support the podcast and the website. And be sure to follow me on Twitter @GinoBreeze. Thanks for listening. You are now leaving SUBCON.